So some of the things we look for to avoid effectively when it comes to fad stocks are stocks where you have a very small revenue line, so maybe they're growing very quickly, so they would be considered high growth technology stocks or high growth concept stocks, but there's not much other cash flow or earnings to back that up. So typically find a very high price to sales multiple, no price to earnings multiple because there's no earnings. And you'll have people getting excited by the people who've backed the company or founded the company as opposed to what the company actually does. So in many cases the business models aren't proven, but they've got a very big valuation on a very small revenue multiple because of the pedigree of people backing the company, or the very attractive sector it's exposed to, or some of the reason that we don't think actually is necessarily fundamental about the business. So we look for those kind of things. Well, actually, we look to avoid those kind of things, look at things that have good fundamentals to support them, being cash flow, balance sheets, valuations, a business model we can understand, and a valuation that makes sense. So when there's been a correction in a stock or the marketplace, the team goes back to fundamentals again. So we sit around, we do the work on the company, we model the company up, we talk to the company, we try to move ourselves from the hysteria or the emotion surrounding the business or the sector, and ask ourselves a question: what is this business doing long term? What is this business fundamentally worth? And we try to if you like, disaggregate the market hype, either positive or negative, from what we think fundamentally a business can achieve in the mid-cycle. And so we spend a lot of our time debating mid-cycle multiples, mid-cycle cash flows, long-term, short-term risks, and form a view on whether they're overly discounted in the share price. And if our view is that they are, we will walk in and buy the shares. We don't just buy stocks for the sake of being contrarian. We often look for stocks that have fallen or stocks that are out of favour. But just because they've fallen out of favour doesn't mean necessarily we're going to buy the stock. We actually go through very carefully and do the work on many stocks that have fallen out of favour. A lot of those don't meet our criteria. In many cases, they fall for good reasons. When they've fallen for what we consider to be temporary reasons or non-fundamental reasons is when we'll typically step in and buy the stock.